Hello and welcome to the Desert Mountain Podcast. Special welcome to all of our members listening and maybe everyone listening all across the world. And that might perhaps be a bit of foreshadowing to what our show will be about today. My name is Michael Craven. I'm joined today by Margaret Stewart. Hello, Margaret.
Hello, Michael.
How are you today?
I'm doing really great. I'm really excited for today's podcast.
I'm excited too because, for one, this is the first time that we are welcoming a guest from a different continent.
Yes.
We have welcomed a guest in from Canada, I believe. But This is, we have a guest from joining us from a whole different continent, and that's new for us. So I'm excited.
That is exciting, and that's part of what we get to talk about today is traveling with Desert Mountain, and this is something that's just really starting for us as far as this capacity. And Matthew Kent from World Travel, he's joining us from South Africa to talk about a trip with the golf team.
Welcome, Matthew. Hello. How are you today?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited to be here and excited to talk all about South Africa and the exciting trips we have for Desert Mountain lined up.
Perfect. And then we also have Joanne Taylor, who's with Walking Connection. She and the Outdoor Adventures team are putting together a trip for our members this summer.
We certainly do. Thanks for having me.
Now, I was under the impression you were going to be joining us from Spain today, Joanne.
Oh, sorry.
We like having you right here in the room with us.
But
so thank you.
That might mean that you should come with us.
Hey, if you can make that happen,
don't tempt them. We've all been kind of drawing for straws. Who's going to go on what trip? I've been to Spain. I don't know that you guys have been to Spain.
I haven't been there, so I think I win by default there.
Yeah, I'll happily go to South Africa. So
Okay.
If we have to, draw straws for this one, I think we've got an even trade there.
I love it. This is really just a cool thing. I mean, we've always done our outdoor adventures team has been amazing in getting our membership off the mountain in some cases and doing all kinds of cool stuff. And we've mentioned before, you've been on, trips in the water, trips on land, a lot of hiking, a little bit of everything. But this is new for us to leave the country.
Yes. And the fun thing is that with both of these trips, it's a little bit for everybody, right? So the Outdoor Adventures team, this is hiking or walking the Camino de Santiago, which is an impressively beautiful trail. And then South Africa is sightseeing, it's golf, it's a little bit of, a little bit more outside of that realm. So there's something for everybody.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, let's start by just finding out a little bit more about each of our guests today. I guess I'll start with Joanne, just because you're sitting right to my right. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and your company, which is Walking Connection?
Definitely. I am so excited to be here and tell you about this experience. To give you a little bit of background, my husband and I founded our company way back in 1989. Wow. You might even say that we are pioneers in the adventure travel world. And to give you a little bit of idea how we came about even getting started, when we first started our company, our focus was on wellness. We were doing corporate and community wellness. And the way that I could talk to people to get them motivated to live an active lifestyle was through walking. Walking is my passion. I love walking. I walk every day. And at that time, a local company came to us and said, well, you have these communities. How about we offer them a tour, an ecology tour to Mexico? So I'm like, well, I don't know. I've never done anything like that. Send me some information. They sent me an itinerary. I knew nothing about travel or itineraries, but I looked at it and I'm like, well, why would we be taking a bus through this village? Why don't we walk? Why don't we walk from here to there? And then I also said, well, how about I have some yoga instructors that work for me. Why don't we bring a yoga instructor? Put that in the itinerary. People can have a nice stretch in the morning and in the evening. We put it out there. The trip sold out within a week, and then we were off to the races.
The rest is history, if you will.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
The rest is history. So since then, we've taken people all over the world. We do small group set departures as well as do private custom trips.
That's so fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving us that background. And I'd like to, get Matthew's too. What's kind of your background, Matthew? How did you get to own the company that you own, which is Kent World Travel? And how'd you get to where you are today?
Thanks, Mike. So basically my background is grew up in Cape Town, South Africa. And I grew up all over the world, traveling with my family, lived in many countries, and obviously, developed a passion for travel, through that growing up as a young kid. And basically I have a professional golfing background. I played for South Africa for many years. I was the #1 junior golfer in the world. Played on the European tour, Japanese tours, Asian tours. So I've got a very big golfing background.
No big deal, ladies and gentlemen. Just a couple of golf accolades there. Yeah.
Just a couple.
I thought I'd throw a few of those nuggets in there without going too deep into it. But yeah, basically my passion for travel has always been around, and, kind of ran out a little bit out of steam on the professional golfing program. It's a tough deal. And, I ended up falling in love with travel, and I wanted more out of my life. And I hooked up with a local company out of South Africa, and started hosting American travelers, just playing golf with them, just hosting them for 18 holes. And so that progressed into hosting 2 weeks, doing the entire itineraries, hosting them from the moment they arrived till the moment they departed, taking care of absolutely all the logistics, the golf, managing the actual trip. And so I've been doing that for about 7 years now. And Kent World Travel, basically was born out of a love for travel, a love for golf, a love for people, a love for adventure. And that's what Kent World Travel is now, is a golf safari sightseeing experience that takes people all over the world. Obviously, South Africa and Africa is our bread and butter. But the whole idea was that we developed a product that we weren't just delivering one trip and one trip of a lifetime. It was, hey, let's take you on a trip, and then where else do you want to go? And we will make that happen around your needs, your interests, and totally customize it around that. We obviously specialize in club travel, high-end, flexible couples travel, which is, what we're doing with Desert Mountain, which I guess we'll touch on a little bit later. But yeah, we deliver top-end travel experiences for couples, for families, for individuals, with a massive amount of flexibility built in through the way that we deliver these trips.
I think the flexibility is really cool, because not only is this specifically for Desert Mountain members for both of these trips, but it's also the idea of having the flexibility within these trips. Joanne, I know with the walking tour of Camino de Santiago, there's a little bit of flexibility within what members can expect along the trail.
There's a lot of flexibility. And to give you a little bit of idea how a trip works, this particular trip, we've built in the flexibility because we have 2 local excellent hiking guides that are with us. So with that, we also have a vehicle, a driver, so that each day is planned so that we really have plan A, B, or C. And if you have a plan D that maybe you want to do, we're totally flexible in setting that up. But people can walk as little or as much as they want, so that they can get the vacation that they want. It's, a lot of times when people think that they're going on a group tour, people are worried that they're going to have their independence taken away from them. Mm-hmm. What we're trying to give to people really is their independence. We have a structure of the itinerary, but within that, we can cater to the specific needs of the people that are participating.
Yes. And I know with the South Africa trip as well, Matthew, that there is the option to add on excursions or take part in other things that may not be part of the regular tour if you want something a little bit more.
Exactly. This particular trip is designed for couples. Singles are also welcome as well. But basically designed for couples. We have combination of activities going on every day. So there's a golfing element to it, where we take folks to the top golf courses around the country. But at the same time, for the non-golfers or folks that just choose not to play golf and maybe they want to see more of the country, we have sightseeing excursions going on every day, taking folks to the must-see places, private vehicles, private guides, private access. We do not wait in queues anywhere. So the non-golfers are going on the best sightseeing and experiences possible. And the golfers are playing the top golf courses in the country with caddies, golf carts, gratuities. Everything is included on this trip so that they literally just plug in, what would you like to do? And again, also, if you do not want to do those things, you can choose to do something else. Hosted, the particular trip has got 2 traveling hosts, full-time traveling hosts, private guides. So if you change your mind, you wake up one morning, you don't feel like doing this, you want to do that, or you maybe ask us some questions about what else is there to do, we make it happen on the fly, flexible, because it is their vacation. These trips are not cheap, but we create a huge amount of value through the way that we deliver these trips so that it's your vacation, and we want to make it the most special it can possibly be.
I like that you both kind of had that flexible element, where you can kind of almost choose your own adventure, if you will, where if you want to go off and, go this way or that way. Obviously, yours, Matthew, has the golf component. Yours, Joanne, not the golf component, but they all fit into what our membership loves, which is golf. Obviously, our membership does love golf, but also outdoor adventure. And so between the two of you, we've got everything covered, and you both kind of echoed the same sentiment with that flexibility. So.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about when these trips actually are. So with Joanne, your trip with the Camino de Santiago in northern Spain, that's coming up this June, 12 days, 11 nights. So I'll give the actual dates, and this will all be in the Mountain Minute from the Tuesday edition this week. So just look for that in the itinerary as well. So it's a 12-day trip, 11 nights in Spain, and is through June 8th, 2023, and ends on June 19th, 2023. So that's what this trip is for. And then with the South Africa trip, that one, you have a little bit more time to plan ahead. If you want to do both trips, you have the absolute availability to do so. Get a few different cultures invested there. So at this time in 2024, this trip will be happening. So that's actually another 12 days, 11 nights. This is from January 7th through January 18th of 2024. So why not plan a trip for June, take 6 months, be headed off to South Africa, right?
I love it. Get all the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask Joanne, you mentioned a little bit of the flexibility, but I also did want to ask you, what is it that sets your company apart and this trip apart? Why would someone maybe go through you instead of just saying, we're just going to go on our own? And we're
Good
just going
question. Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Good question. I think the first and probably one of the biggest reasons is experience.
Yeah.
We're looking at 33 years of experiences of putting these trips together. I will also be on this trip as the inaugural trip. I am going to be there, making sure that everything is absolutely perfect. But I want to explain a little bit more about the walking and why walk, because some people might be like, why walk? And when you get out there, you are making your experience multidimensional. See, touch, feel, hear, that you wouldn't see, touch, feel, hear if you're driving by in a car. It's making your experience, you're connecting more with nature, with people. You're opening yourself up to serendipitous moments that you wouldn't have if you're just driving by. It's really about the connection. The essence of travel is connection. And what better way to connect with history, culture, and maybe even to yourself when you get out there and take it one step at a time. the world does move at pedestrian speed. I mean, so many times here, we're buzzing around with our cell phones, with our laptops, so much to do. But when you can slow down at pedestrian speed, your journey has a whole nother aspect. So I think that's really important for people to understand that they're going to experience Spain in a totally different way, and we're going to be going through different regions. One of our guides is Basque. And why I wanted to point that out was because of the importance of having these knowledgeable guides. We're going to be spending an evening in Pamplona, and you might think of Pamplona as running of the bulls.
Yes.
Well, Pamplona is Basque country. Our guide has run with the bulls 5 times.
Wow.
And he's going to take you where you run for the bulls and is actually going to be able to talk about his experience.
That's cool.
So you can read about history, you can plan your own trip, pull out your Lonely Planet or Frommers. But when you have guides that are not going to just tell you about history, they're going to bring you into that moment so you can feel the history. And I think that's really special.
I would prefer to do a trip like this, Margaret, is I would like to leave like my cell phone in the States and, and just like really go and just experience, bring a camera, take a lot of pictures perhaps, but, just almost kind of unplug.
Yeah.
And I think you'd feel much more comfortable unplugging, if you will, and just experiencing the moment when you do have a bit of, a guide, if you will, kind of you feel more, like you're not just out there completely on your own and I don't know.
Well, something else I want to talk about this particular walk, the Camino de Santiago, because it is a bucket list walk. People have heard about it. And there are a lot of different ways that you can do the Camino. There are a lot of different trails that are the Caminos, all leading to Santiago de Compostela. However, what you will get with traveling with us, we have selected the most beautiful portions of the trail. I have walked the Camino numerous times. I've done it different ways. I've walked from Portugal up through Spain, and one of the trails I did was 140 miles.
Wow.
And it was great, but there were places that I was walking through that were industrial areas or you were on a highway. It wasn't that pleasant. Yeah. We've taken away all that.
Gotcha.
Most beautiful. And the diversity each day is totally different than the day before. Totally different. One day we're going to be walking through poppy fields. The next day we'll have the Pyrenees Mountains with snow caps as our background.
Wow.
Have you ever had Basque food?
I have not. Have you?
I have. Bakersfield, where I'm from, Bakersfield, California, is very high in the Basque region as far as our community. So many a Basque restaurant. And I've also been to Spain. Really enjoyed that as well. So
maybe you do need to go on this trip, Margaret. Maybe.
No, I'd like to be in touch. I would love to, but I would also like to be in touch with nature in South Africa.
Yeah, but I really want to go golf in South Africa. That's my thing. I'm looking to.
We're now drawing those straws.
Well,
again.
no.
Okay.
Well, I did want to ask to bring it back to you, Matthew. You mentioned that a lot of the courses that you select are some of the best courses in the country. How do you go about, selecting, where you're going to take your guests, and also the other, whether it's a safari, whether it's a whatever you're choosing, how do you go about choosing what you're going to do? Because I know there's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, absolutely. So most of the travelers that come with us, especially from, Desert Mountain specifically, this is a first-time trip to South Africa and probably even to Africa. So what we try to do is we try to put together what we actually do is we are putting together a trip that is giving you a little taste of everything within South Africa that is what you want to see. So we touch on the Cape Winelands, which is Franschhoek, Stellenbosch, our famous wine region, where, we've got incredible red wines, white wines, MCCs, world-class properties. South Africa, if you're looking at it as Africa, a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to Africa, but they're coming to South Africa. And South Africa is probably your first stop to opening up the rest of Africa. because it's got a lot of first world amenities, great infrastructures. It's got everything in one country. They're experiencing chocolate and nougat, MCC, champagne pairings. They're meeting the winemakers. They're going into private cellar tours. And then we head off to Cape Town, where we give them a little touch of the culture, the diversity. There's 12 official languages in South Africa, believe it or not. And obviously apartheid ended, 35 years or so ago, when Nelson Mandela basically ended that and basically created a free country. So there's a huge amount of history involved as well. So we touch on that a little bit, but we basically will take folks to the top spots. We'll take folks up Table Mountain, which is a 7 wonder of nature. We'll take folks down to Cape Point, the most southwestern tip of Africa. We play great golf in Cape Town. We're eating amazing food, drinking great wine, and basically bringing to life Cape Town as well. Then we head off to a place called Fan Court, which is actually where I'm sitting right now with the Dallas Country Club at the moment. We have 16 guests here, and we've just done a similar itinerary to what we do with Desert Mountain. Not the same, because it's all a little bit different, but all Gary Player design golf courses. We play the number 1 course in the country, which is the Links at Fan Court. They played the President's Cup here. That time, I don't know if you remember when Ernie and Tiger tied in the dark.
Oh, yeah.
Jack was the captain and Gary was the captain, and they ended up having a handshake on a tie. Anyway, we're playing that golf course. It's private. It's exclusive. We have access. So great golf here on the Garden Route. And for the non-golfers, we're taking folks to do elephant interactions, walking around with elephants, which, it's a sanctuary. So not something you would do in the wild, but something that these elephants can't survive in the wild anymore, because they're just not used to it anymore. So you get a little taste of safari before we head on to the next place. We do private boat cruises with eco tours in the nature reserves. We take folks to the ostrich capital of the world in Oudtshoorn. We do Kango caves, incredible cave formations. So the non-golfers are doing incredible and fun activities with private guides and private vehicles, amazing lunches, and the golfers are playing golf with caddies and carts, and everything's taken care of. And that's what I'm, doing right here is, I set up all their golf. I'm an hour ahead of everybody. We're setting up their equipment. So when the folks arrive, everything's dialed in. Where's the range? That's where you can get yourself a drink and off you go. So everything's very seamless. We're here for 3 days at the moment. Desert Mountain will also be in Fancourt for 3 days. And then we actually have a private charter flight for Desert Mountain that departs from Fancourt up into the Sabi Sands, which is in the Kruger National Park. So we streamline the entire process. As an example, guests do not carry luggage at all. When they arrive at their next place, it's in their rooms. It's all set up. It's very, 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 very streamlined. Anyway, we head up from Fancourt up to the Sabi Sands, which is basically the pinnacle of the trip. We go on a 3-night safari. Desert Mountain has a 4-night safari where we're at the original photographic safari destination in South Africa called Mala Mala. It is the first place where they started commercializing photographic safaris and moving away from the hunting. So the game viewing is off the charts. You'll see all the big 5, elephants, rhinos. You'll see the leopards, lions, Cape buffalo, all the animals, plus hundreds and thousands of other species. And these are all-inclusive lodges where they take incredible care of you. Breakfasts in the bush. You do stargazing at night. You have, amazing local singers and dancers doing dinners under the African stars. So the Desert Mountain trip is a combination of food and wine, incredible golf, seeing the top highlights and top spots in and around South Africa. We take you up the garden route where you get to interact with animals. You get to learn about the history and the cultures. And then we take you on world class, 5-star. You could call it 6-star, but it doesn't exist. It's top notch the whole way through and fully hosted. So I personally will be on this trip. And I've just recently got married, actually, 8 days ago.
Wow.
Oh, congratulations, Matthew.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And my wife is my partner and my co-host on these trips as well. So my wife spends time, a little bit more time with the ladies than I do, and I spend a little bit more time with the guys, depending on who's doing what. And we deliver this trip from the beginning to the end. From the moment you get off the plane, we have diplomatic services meeting you plainside with your names, escorting you through customs, bags, meeting your private drivers, meeting us at the airports, all the way through with us traveling with you the whole way through, facilitating this trip, ensuring that you have a trip of a lifetime, all the way till we, have diplomatic services get you back on your plane back to the US. So the Desert Mountain trip is off the charts. It's world class. It doesn't get better. And if folks have extra time, they want to maybe come in early, or they want to maybe extend their trip a bit later, we can take folks to Okavango Delta, Victoria Falls. You can spend more time in the winelands. There's a few things we can add on. And obviously we can add on anything Africa on this particular trip. But if you want to do more of Africa, Africa's kind of a 3-trip deal. It's South Africa, Southern Africa, and East Africa. But this particular trip is the best of the best of South Africa.
We wanted to ask what sets his trip apart, what sets Matthew's trip apart, instead of just going on your own. Why should, kind of the same question we asked you, Joanne, why should you go? I think you just answered that pretty well. I think that was a
tidy summary.
Go back a couple minutes and just listen to everything Matthew just said, and that's what sets that trip apart from going on your own. I love it.
That's incredible.
I guess we would ask both of our guests today, are there still spots available? Can our members still get into these trips? What has the reaction been so far, the response? Joanne, you want to take that one first?
No, we only have 3 more spaces.
Oh, boy.
Yes, 3 more spaces. We're only taking 13.
Okay.
And like I said, I'll be escorting the trip, as well as Teresa Beal, the director of Outdoor Adventures. Mm-hmm. So she'll be there as well.
I'm first alternate for Teresa.
Okay.
Yeah. But just, I didn't know if you knew that or not.
Jake Metz might fight you for that spot.
I think
but
Jake, and then,
Jake,
then
I'm coming
Jen.
for you.
And then there's
Now
Jennifer
there's
Genghis.
Jen.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Get in line. 3 more spaces.
3 spaces left.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Matthew?
Yeah, so we have availability on this trip for 9 couples. We have 2 couple spots available for the 2024 trip. So we have 7 couples signed up already. I'm pretty sure we're going to do many more trips in the future. John Lieberger and I have been working closely together for a while, and we've been planning this trip, and it's been a great success already. So I'm pretty confident that this thing's going to sell out, really soon.
What can we say? I think we're going to get a little insight into how many people listen to our podcast and how many people are opening the Mountain Minute. Maybe we can sell this thing out by the end of the week, Margaret. What do you think?
I don't see why we wouldn't be able to.
Both trips, let's just see what we can do.
It's a goal,
yeah,
I'd say.
I think so.
Well, I do think what was exciting when we were planning with the Outdoor Adventure team, because we were talking about quite a few destinations, and I am so thrilled to be working with this team of people, because we have a lot of creative ideas for the future.
There is a question on my sheet here, Margaret, that you had written. Do you want to ask this question? This is a travel bag necessity type question.
Yes.
I love this question, so I wanted to let you ask this.
Okay, so both Joanne and Matthew, you have one item you can bring with you that is unlike, it's not your toothbrush, your toothpaste, those normal clothing. Is there one specific thing that's always in your bag that you have to have? Joanne, you get to go first.
Okay. Well, I have a lot of things in my bag that I wouldn't go without.
You get just one for this one.
Just one, but I have a new item that's went with me this year. I did a lot of traveling this year, and it would be something unusual. and maybe it wouldn't be useful for everybody. But if you're looking for something that isn't the normal, I like to keep things when I travel. I like to have an essence of home with me. I like to keep things as normal as possible. It helps you feel better. And I'm a tea drinker.
Oh.
And when you travel the world, you go to a lot of places that are coffee drinkers. You know, it can be really sad when you're a tea drinker and you're in a coffee drinking company and everybody wants to stop for an espresso. But this year I discovered a travel tea kettle.
Wow.
And that has been with me for the last year. Well, it's not that's something that's not ordinary.
No,
but that
I think
way,
that's great.
You know, in the evening, I can have a cup of chamomile mint tea. That's part of my ritual, you know, getting ready, you know, to go to bed that evening.
That's perfect.
I love that. Yeah, if you have something that you have to have in your life and your ritual every day, then find a way to bring it along.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Matthew, same question. What do you got?
You know, this was a weird one. It was actually kind of stumped me a little bit.
Yes.
I was like, geez, you know, like quite honestly, I just travel as light as possible. I do laundry as we go along the way. And I travel with my golf clubs. I mean, I really do. And I also travel with this right here. I think this is basically the full back end of the trip in hard paper, taking notes of, someone made a suggestion of some book that they want, and boom, I take a note and that book's on that person's bed. The plans change. We move timings around. So instead of being on my phone, you know, looking like I'm on my phone all the time, I've got this pretty shabby piece of paper 6 days into the trip here. You know, just making sure that they know that I'm working and I'm not on my phone. But I travel with this thing like my Bible, because this is all these little notes and things that go along the way is really what makes these things, you know, really special. So yeah, travel lights, travel with my golf clubs because you never know. And obviously, you know, I'm taking care of the guests and I've got the full deal going on. And so I travel light.
You do a lot of traveling, Margaret. I don't know if you would agree with me here. I would say maybe leave a little room in your suitcase.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know you're going to buy some things when you're there, right? You're going to.
Usually my trick is, you know, the expansion. You keep the expansion down when you pack.
Yeah.
So when you come back, you have room to expand.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you wanted to? I mean, I thank you so much, both of you, for coming in here because both of these trips sound incredible. I would give you each just the opportunity to anything you would like to say to the members that are already signed up and are going to be going, what they can be excited for, and maybe to the people who haven't yet, for the lucky couples who are going to get these last couple of spots. Yeah. Any final words to entice someone to be those last couple of signups?
Well, I think when it comes into a trip that is built around activity, a lot of times people are intimidated. They're like, oh, can I walk that far? Can I walk that fast? Or even, am I too fast? Am I going to be faster than everybody else? And that's what's special about this trip is that we can really bring anybody. You should be able to walk about 3 to 5 miles, but we're going to help with a training program that's optional, but about 12 weeks before the trip, we're going to give that to everybody to help them get ready. So, you know, put that aside. We really make sure that everybody has a great time and walks what they're comfortable with.
Matthew?
Yeah, Joanne, I think you guys are nailing it. Just want to say that. But yeah, I think from my side, look, we've been delivering these trips for a long time. South Africa is an incredible country. I grew up here. It is a place that myself and my family still choose to live. It has got so much to offer in one country that is pretty much impossible to find anywhere else in the world. The value for money, the variety, the friendly people. It is safe. We go to the best properties. We have the best people looking after us. And this is a once in a lifetime trip that hopefully turns into oh, I want a little bit more of this, or I want a bit more of that. And hopefully it spurs your interest in traveling back to Africa to go a little deeper and a little deeper. So I would say South Africa is the perfect entry point into Africa. And, there's no better way of traveling to South Africa than traveling this style with your members, develop friendships, develop new relationships, so that the next time you go back home and you're on the driving range and you're playing your member guest or your member, you are hugging your friends that you've just spent 2 weeks traveling with. The bonds that it creates and the memories that it creates are just priceless. And this is what travel is. It's an adventure, and it's really something that's great for the soul and changes your perspective on the whole world and how other people live. So I just encourage you to take those last 2 spots. And I know that we will be doing a lot more with Desert Mountain, and I'm really excited about the partnership and the opportunity. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Matthew. I love that you two are going. I think it's so great. As you mentioned, your 30 plus years of experience doing this, you're actually there, and Matthew, you are South African. This is your home country and you're going to be there on the trip. So who better than the two of you to guide these 2 trips for our members?
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. All right. Anything else, Margaret? Let's go travel somewhere.
Yeah. Well, all right.
I'm just so amped up. Maybe we just get in the car and go down to Bartlett Lake or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Right across the street.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Matthew, for being our first ever guest to join us from a different continent. You have that to hang your hat on. That's pretty cool. And thank you for your time. Joanne, thank you for joining us right here in the studio. And thank you both for all of the insight. And I know our members are really looking forward to these trips.
We can't wait. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Matthew. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Wow.
Yeah.
That was a lot of information.
Yeah, it's some good stuff.
I was a little bit of a poser in here today. I'm not really much of a world traveler. You, I know, Margaret, are the world traveler. And so, am I really going to go to Spain? Probably not. It's probably going to be you.
Probably.
She'll take it.
I've already done Spain. Yeah. I loved it. But this is a whole other aspect of Spain that you just don't get to experience when you go to Madrid and Barcelona.
Yeah. I would, that golf trip that Matthew was talking about, that would be right up my alley, but maybe one day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good guy to know,
And speaking of golf,
we have shots.
Great shots.
Like really, really good ones this week.
I was so excited for this week when I was putting the list together.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. You want to get into it?
Let's jump into it. And the first one is, a lot of these actually are no stranger to the list because, Barry Concert, who we seem to talk about a lot on this podcast, on my birthday, actually, Monday, December 26th.
Oh, Boxing Day.
He had 2 eagles during the same round, which is incredible.
Yeah.
An eagle on the first hole and the 4th hole at Apache. So 2 eagles, not only during the same round, but in the front 9.
2 eagles.
Mr. Concert, very, very cool. Thursday, January 5th, John Edwards with a hole-in-one on number 18 at Geronimo. I've said it before, that would be my favorite hole-in-one hole because you're coming into the CG clubhouse and it's just...
You get to stand, you get to do a little wave.
Do the wave.
Hey, everyone.
So that's pretty darn cool. Kurt Bukowicz, Friday, January 6th, an eagle on number 15 at Renegade.
Also not a stranger to this list.
Not at all. Or this name coming up, which is Carlin Yates, Saturday, January 7th, a hole-in-one over at 7, hole number 11. Mm-hmm. So that's
7,
awesome.
11, on 7.
We had Mike Silverman, same day, Saturday, January 7th, eagle, hole number 7 at Outlaw this time.
There you go.
We're getting all the courses in the mix this week. David DiBiase, Saturday, January 7th, eagle, first hole at Apache. What a way to start your round.
Oh, yeah.
Same day. This is the 4th amazing shot we had on January 7th. So that was a very busy day last weekend.
It was a great day for golf.
It was, as I remember it. You're right.
Beautiful.
She also had an amazing round, an eagle on hole number 11, and then a hole-in-one on number 17 at Apache.
Who was this again? Was
This
it
is
Sharon?
Sharon Jones.
Sharon Jones.
An eagle and a hole-in-one, both on the back nine, so incredible. And then last but not least, Janet Larson, also last weekend, Sunday, January 8th, a hole-in-one at Outlaw, hole number 15.
All right.
Mrs. Larson, very nice. All right, well, like I said before, I'm ready to go do some traveling. Maybe in-state, Sedona.
Yeah.
Maybe Grand Canyon.
Maybe.
Maybe down to Tucson, my hometown.
You do that a lot, don't you?
Every now and again.
Check that one off the list. What about Bisbee? What about Tombstone? What about Cottonwood?
Look at this. Jerome, maybe?
Jerome, Clarkdale.
Oh,
Not
my
Clarkdale. Yeah,
Clarkdale.
Cornville.
Look at us.
Yeah.
Look at us knowing our Arizona
Travel.
geography.
Yeah.
And you haven't been in Arizona like as long as I have, so I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed our travel-themed podcast. If you happen to be watching this and you are interested in either of those trips, sign up quick. They're gonna fill up. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, until next week, we will see you around the mountain.